It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to it. You tune into your Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso right here on S3. What a Monday morning, filled with advice, and we're not stopping there. Right now, relationship, personal empowerment coach and author Shelley Lewin is back in studio with us to share her brand new book titled Uncomplicated Love, a step-by-step guide for building a thriving relationship. I love the title. And of course, we are all up for building and uplifting connections and fostering a stronger sense of self-love. So let's start chatting. Shelley, lovely to have you back.
Thank you so much.
So this is a step-by-step guide. If you want a healthy relationship, there's it. 1, 2s, and 3s.
Yes, it is a bit of a guide, exactly as you say. So there's a lot of self-reflection activities as well to help people through the process.
Yeah. Tell me about this journey and why you decided to go on it. Because when you talk about relationships between people, between partners, sometimes the landscape can look a bit tricky and complex, right? And this book is there to guide us through. Why did you start and write this book?
Well, I live by the philosophy, learn it, live it, give it.
Okay.
And I have been doing this work for 20 years now. So for thousands of hours, I've been working with individuals and couples in my capacity as a relationship coach, self-empowerment coach, couple counselor. And I realized, you know, I've actually really helped so many individuals and couples that I've developed a sort of a methodology. So let me try to scale that a little bit, share what I have learned and lived in my own life. So I've been married for 18 years now. And so I've actually been my own laboratory. My marriage has been my own laboratory. So I thought I'm going to write this, which is my professional and personal wisdom, all sort of wrapped up. So there's some scandal in here because I do share a little bit about my personal life and how I got to be doing this work, which is, I feel like it's born from my own wounds.
But that's good because, I mean, you come from a place of you've been through it, you've lived through it.
Yes.
And you know what, as much as relationships and those relationships between couples and people, whatever the case, they're all different and, you know, in variable aspects, I think at the core, there's still the same kind of issue. So let's go to that core.
Yes.
What would you say, and I'm sure we can take it from the book, what are the conditions that should match up for people to have a good relationship?
Okay, so I speak about the second part of the book is around the conditions for thriving, and I'm referring to conditions that will help for love to prosper. And so the first condition is that unity needs a purpose. So couples need to create mutually beneficial shared goals and visions together.
Right.
They both need to be aspiring to the same future. The second is for us to get out of our own way and stop being a barrier to love by identifying all the beliefs that we have, the outdated fantasies that we have about how we think love should be based on movies and unrealistic expectations that we've developed from Hollywood and romantic dramas that we've been watching our whole lives.
How many times in a relationship have we seen it's like, oh, but can't you be more like that in that movie?
Exactly.
It's a movie.
The third condition is to begin with you, which is around you becoming an empowered individual so that you don't get involved in dynamics where someone's trying to overpower you or disempower you. So it's around begin with me, realize where you are potentially disempowered. The fourth condition is for people that are not in relationship. It's called authentic compatibility. That's around making sure that you identify and relate and get involved with someone who's going to be a good match for you. So someone who's going to bring out the best in you, because you can love someone who brings out the best in you and someone who brings out the worst. So it's around authentic compatibility and understanding what that is. And then the fifth one is around being a quality partner. So develop the best practices for being a team player. You're ultimately going to be in a team for the rest of your life. You want to figure out what are the relationship competencies that are going to help you to show up as a quality partner.
Sure, it seems like there's a lot that we can take away from the book, but it sounds like it's always coming back to you as an individual and stemming from that self-love and that work that you do on yourself, and that's what we're focusing on here this morning.
Yes.
And I want to quickly just go to an extract from your book that says the biggest hurdle for any relationship is to have partners who believe that they don't have any work to do.
Yes.
Right. So please expand on that, because we are dealing with self-love this morning. We're focusing on that. But if you believe, as somebody in a relationship, that I don't have any work to do, it's all on you.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. So the work that I'm referring to is the work around owning your emotional wounds,
Your past, whatever the
exactly,
case may
your
be.
past, anything that where you have feel disempowered or triggered or hurt or wounded in some way in a relationship. And we are all going to arrive into our relationship with things that our parents did, an ex-partner, someone has hurt us at some point, and that has an impact on us on how we trust people, how we treat people, how considerate we are, whether we feel safe with that person, whether we can be vulnerable with that person. All of those things will show up in our capacity to be intimate with another human being. And unfortunately, for most of us, we don't look at the things that stop us or block us from being vulnerable in a relationship. So we're always looking to point the finger outward, and that's unfortunately what's going to create disconnection in a relationship, because as long as you think it's somebody else's fault and you have one finger pointing out at you, there's three pointing right back at you.
Exactly.
And so it's around, this book is very much around take ownership for where you are wounded, where you are triggered, where you perhaps, and there's a lot of things that people don't know that they don't know. So in many ways, I'm inviting people to overcome the invisible barriers to love that they have built up to protect themselves, which stop them from having deep, intimate connections with other people.
Absolutely. You know what that saying is, you can't love somebody else unless you love yourself first, which is very,
Absolutely.
very difficult. Shelley, I wish we had like the entire morning to unpack your book, but the book is there for a reason, for people to go and read. And I think you touched on a very important point, and maybe for you guys at home, what happens in the past, it affects us, yes, but it's how you deal with it. It's recognizing those challenges that you had, dealing with it before
Yes.
moving it on. Otherwise, you are going to place it on somebody else. Shelley, thank you
Yes.
very much.
Oh, it's
Go
a
get her
pleasure.
book. Go get her book. It's an unbelievable guide to Uncomplicated Love. And the website there, if I'm right, tracoaching.com.
Yes, so you can buy it. It's available on my website as well, tracoaching.com.
tracoaching.com. Mzansi, do yourself a favor. Get this book. Shelley, thank you very
Thank you
much. for
so
joining us
much.
this morning.